What's up, loves? It's a new day that the Lord has made. I gotta thank my Trinity, hallelujah, amen, for the ones that rock with me. Let's get this great debate. Let's keep it real, raw, respectful, uncut, and cute. For the ones that don't, you missed out. 21 gun salute. Now, this is just a little straightening video because people love to spin false narratives on me, right? And when I did the video about the devil using these people, for the record, if you see me on anyone's platform, and it's not my own platform, it's cap, it's a scam. But I don't really care about none of these people that was news, negative, evil, wicked spirits, okay? Bums, female dogs underneath snakes, males or female, or roads bent up, they are forever rested in my past. But I don't like the fact that this false narrative is being spent about me when it comes to the one that God ordained me to be with, right? So I got to tell y'all the story, right? And this cap about me wanting him because something backfired. There was a weapon that was formed against me that didn't prosper, and they end up destroying themselves versus me, right? That's cap. I'm just like, when do y'all get tired of lying? They don't. People lie on you so much they will start to believe their own lies. When you share the truth on their lies, you're forever their enemies, right? So I just had to set this record straight because I have been talking about a dude. I even told Mr. Wrong that Mr. Right was right for me. Right. And I knew Mr. Right was for me a long, long time ago. But because I have been in a situation that Mr. Right put me in, it took me a long time to grow up and, just say, screw it, this is what it is, and I don't care who knows. I was forced into that situation. No matter what I had showed people in this town and, what I had said, they were still stuck back into that 20-year wilderness. And they seen and heard what they wanted to until it backfired and everybody started backpedaling. But no, you made that bed. You're going to die over there. I'm way past straight. I've already came out and said, I love Mr. Right. He was the best thing that happened to me, and I got to stand on that. Right? But I made the choice to step back because he is in the same situation that he was in when I let him get married, and I didn't want to, and that was devastating. And I actually shed some tears, and I'm just sharing this story with y'all now because I'm just getting straight and done. And I remember when I found out he was getting married, and I had to step back because I had to mature, and I had to step back and let it happen. But I was really devastated. And I didn't share that with anybody until Mr. Wrong got married to his equal, and I really didn't care about that because our day was back in 2016, June 16th, 2016, right? But for real, if I gotta keep it 100, we have been getting married all of our lives, okay? Because Mr. Wrong was my first love before we had kids, and we just was in and out of each other's lives because he was always him, but I always loved him no matter what. You know how they go. Until I met the true right man that I allowed to love me. Now, the first one I didn't love, but he taught me how a real man should love a real woman. So when Mr. Right came along, I was like, it was equal. I loved him, he loved me. We were second to none, right? So let me tell you how me and Mr. Right first met, because this is the most important story to me. Right, because nobody else that I'm going to speak of has no jurisdiction in 2023. I have no love for him. Wish him the best. 21 gun salute, right? It's no hard feelings. I just have nothing for you, right? You hung yourself. You did what you did. It's a rap, gangster. He made that bed. You're going to die over there, right? And come back over here. Anyway, so we hung out on this strip, right? And I hung out with my sisters, and my older sister was like, oh, I got my eye on him, he's so sexy, and I want him and this and this and that. And I'm sitting there looking at her like, really? What you want me to do? Barbecue boo? So I'm like, what you want me to do? She said, go over there and get his number for me and hook us up. I'm like, okay, because I just been me my whole life, right? Very open and honest. I'm going to tell you what it is. I ain't no sugarcoater. So I end up going over there and getting in his car. And I got in, I sat down. I was like, I just opened the door and got in, right? That's just me. And I sat down and shut the door, and I was like, oh, my sister sent me over here. She wants your number, she think you it, and she want me to hook y'all up. And he looked at me, because I was looking at him, and he said, I don't want her. I got my eye on something else. And I said, well, that has nothing to do with me. I'm just over here trying to hook you up, so what should I tell her? And apparently I've never told her the truth, because she would send me over there when we was hanging out, and this happened for a while. And I would get in his car, and I would take the change out of his car, because I feel like, this is a blank mission, and I'm going to get something out the deal, right? So when I first got in his car, he didn't have that much change, but he had enough to get what I wanted, right? But then when I kept going back over there, it was a lot of change, right? So I'm like, okay, because I ain't, I'm the type of chick where I'm going to go spend your money, and I'm going to be okay with it. But we ain't nothing, this was just change. It wasn't like that. This is probably late off into the evening, and I just wanted to do something. I didn't need it. It wasn't nothing but change, but I was used to doing it. I got to get in your car and take something now. So anyway, I did that for a while. And at first, it was just like he was just putting it up for me to get. And I ain't know. So one day I got a knock on my door. And I'm like, who is it? And then this dude said his name. I'm thinking, what he want? Because I knew, his mother, his grandmother, because his grandmother was my grandmother's friend. And they went out and they partied. I knew his mother and I knew his aunt because we was all in the same clique. But I didn't really know I knew who their mother was. I didn't know who their daddy was, right? So I knew the boys, right? So he's like, my little brother want to talk to you. And I'm like, well, where he at? So he come over there. And I'm like, okay. I'm looking at him. I'm thinking, oh, my gosh. These legs. And it's just like, ah. So we start talking. And Mr. Wrong, thank God for change, I kept something of his, and I had a picture of him hanging on my dresser. It had a mirror on it, and it had little metal prongs that held the mirror and the back of the mirror together, and I had his picture stuck up in the middle of the mirror. And I took it down. I said, do you know him? He said, no, I don't know that N-word. And I'm like, yes, there is a God. So we started kicking it, and I remember us walking to his mom's house and her saying that she was glad that he had a girlfriend, because all they wanted to do was wrestle with each other and boys. She happy they weren't gay, which was a joke, So he went to take a shower, and I'm sitting down there, and she and I are talking. And so we go back to my house, and it's just like, it's like the rest of the world does not matter. I didn't even have a care in the world as long as he was laying next to me. And it seemed like we was laying up, our heart beat to the same rhythm, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, he don't know dude, and he is it like Michael Jackson. So I done fell right in love with this dude, right? The first real man I ever loved, because I only loved the wrong male for too many years. So I get a knock on the door one day, and I go to the door, and it's my sister, and she say, I've been over Mr. Wrong's sister's house, and she asked me to ask you if you knew that Mr. Wrong and Mr. Right was first cousins. She said, I told her you didn't know that. I had to come over and tell you. I knew you didn't know that. I know you didn't know it, but I'm saying this is what she told me to come over and ask. And I told her, no, my sister don't know that. Yeah, I felt, I was like the size of Goliath with him. But I shrunk down to the size of an ant, because that had happened to me. And that was like my #1 rule. Don't ever cross that line, because news in my mother's bloodline, the negative, evil, wicked spirits had done that to me. And I never tripped with these dudes about crossing that line because I didn't love them. And if I didn't love you, I never checked you about nothing that you was doing. Not seriously. Maybe you was playing with not these dudes, but I may have played with a person before and like something, but it wasn't nothing serious where it had affected me because there was no love there. I knew what it was, right? So I'm like, no. Oh my God. So I remember he and I talking. I said, why didn't you tell me? Because he looked at that picture of that sucker and said, no, I don't know that ain't word. And I was thinking, yes, there is a guy. And but I'm glad he lied to me in the end. But it took me a while to get over that because that was my number one rule. So he said, I lied to you because I wanted you for myself. And that was the best lie anybody ever told me, y'all. And I still had to grow up because, I was young and I knew he was the best thing that ever happened to me, but I was still used to loving Mr. Wrong because we had so much history and, we would go away. We was off and on and nobody really compared to that, right? Even though I had this real man love me and show me what real love was from a man to a woman, right? All I was used to before that real man came, I never loved him. All I was used to was Mr. Wrong, right? And I moved to Texas. I ended up coming back for Mr. Wrong because he was dating his reflection, his equal. And I thought, I got to come back and save him. For some reason, I thought I could save him. But, he didn't want to be saved. He wanted to be the trash man. Trash the trash, even though he knew this treasure loved him. So at some point, you grow up, you own your worth and your value, and you let the garbage man do what he do. They like a glove and a ball. They fit, right? But anyway, I came back from Texas, and I was like, no. He started acting stupid, and then that's when I ran into the real man. He and I dated, and then when I was with the real man, I met the second dude that I was dumb enough to have a kid by, and I was like, because I had met Mr. Ratchet, I went and I said, screw Mr. Wrong. I'm over it. I'm going to date this dude for his money, right? So I told the best man that I had, this is my first real man that I had allowed to love me because I wanted people that was just like my father, right? So, but I only love one wrong male, right? I didn't love these people. If I liked him, I kicked it. And once my life was over, it was a rap gangster. It was nothing that they could do. Having kids by people that I didn't love did nothing for me but make me run faster, right? So, I get with the second dude that ain't worth the food stamp because the first dude ain't worth the food stamp. He gone, but he done slept with both of our cousins. And he gone for 16 years, and he denied my child, so it was a wrap. I wasn't even fooling with him when he left. So I meet the second dude, because Mr. Wrong was acting right when I get back from Texas. And then, first I come back and I have the relationship with the real man, okay? And then somebody introduced me to the second dude that was not worth a mustard seed of a food stamp, but it was all about a coin. Right? So I was like, okay, I told my good man, I'm leaving you because this dude got some money and I'm out. That's how I was. Don't take that to be cruel. I was just an open, honest person. I never sugarcoated anything. So when I got to do with the money, I was like, this is strictly business. Ain't no love. I love Mr. Wrong, and ain't nobody gonna change that. Everybody knew that. That's why I was so hilarious when the first client I was dumb enough to have a kid by, I was trying to convince his wife that he was my first love. No, you wouldn't. Okay. The lies they tell on King Ree, right? So I'm like, I get with dude, and he did try to talk to one of my cousins. But this girlfriend of ours had said that she tried to hook me up with him too. I wasn't at the park the day they met, but this cousin did not want him because he was ugly and his friend looked better. So she didn't want him. She wanted to go for the looks, but turned out this ugly dude was the GOAT, right? So the friend hooked us up. She dissed him, and the friend hooked us up. And I done sent my good man back because I want this dude for his money, right? And I was just blunt like that, So I get with dude. It's strictly business. It's nothing. I don't love you. I never love you. I love Mr. Wrong. I haven't met Mr. Right yet. And so, not Mr. Wrong, because I didn't love Mr. Devil. That wasn't worth the mustard of food stamp that I left my good man for because he had money. He had told me that he had a lot of women, and if I seen him with his women, not to say anything to him, right? So I'm like, you really don't know me, right? And I really don't care because you ain't looking like nothing. If it wasn't for your money, I wouldn't even be talking to you, right? So one night we go down there because we in a girl group. It's a Sky group down there, and they come up here. We go down there. We happen to go down there this night, and I see dude come in the club with a woman, and I really don't care. It's not that. It is what it is. So I go walking, and I see this dude that I had a crush on. He and I are talking, we smiling. And next thing you know, I feel somebody done grab my arm like that principal. So I look, I'm like, wait a minute. And it was him. I said, wait a minute, didn't you walk in here with somebody? Then you tell me not to say nothing. Look at me and going back over there because I ain't got time, He was like, screw her. Left that chick at the club. We left. Never had to worry about that, right? But dude was wicked and evil. And I'm going to tell y'all the 3 things he did. And I was like, God, if you get me out of this, I won't go back. And even when he was locked up for his 23 years, people asked me, are you going to go back to him when he get out? And I would say no. Okay? So we hook up for money because Mr. Wrong ain't acting right. I done let my good man go to show me what it was for a real man to love me. So, but I love him. So, I mean, if I don't love you, my life over, it's a wrap, right? Ain't nothing you can do about it. Kids only make me get rid of you faster. Babies can't keep me tied to somebody that I love, right? So, I'm like, okay. He was coming. He lived in another town at this time. And he was coming to see me every day, right? And I would call him every day for money. And I asked him one time, I said, well, why don't you just give me a lot of money at one time so I don't have to call you every day? Because that got annoying. I had to call him for him to drive out of his town, to drive up here to give me money. Just give me a lot of money, then I don't got to call you. And he said, if I give you a lot of money, you ain't going to call me every day. Flag, right? So I'm like, okay, it didn't register. So, we got to seeing each other, and it was nothing but a money thing. And I wanted to go to the laundromat one time, and I asked him to take me, and he was like, no, you don't need to go to the laundromat, you just stay here, because I was used to him coming, bringing me some money. I was going to go to the mall, I was going to buy me an outfit, buy my baby an outfit, because I had to buy the first wrong male that I never loved, that I liked. He was gone for 16 years, right? So I came back, I had moved to Texas, because my first love was just not right. So we both had kids. No, we hadn't. I had a baby first. He didn't have kids first. He was supposed to have a kid first, but it wasn't his kid. But anyway, we both had kids, and I had moved off. And I came back because he was with a reflection of him. And I just loved him at first sight, and that was all I knew. That was my first love before I had kids. Before we had kids, we was off and on. I loved him, right? So I came back. He wasn't acting right. I meet the real man to show me what a real man is supposed to love a woman. And then I go, and I end up saying, listen, this dude with money, I got to go. It's not you was a good dude. I appreciate that, but I need money. So I end up getting with this dude, and I called him to take me to the laundromat one time because I can't be controlled, and I'm not a cheater. I've never cheated on anybody I was with, whether it was a hookup or we was in a relationship. I'm just not a cheater. I can only deal with one person at a time, period. So I called him, and I'm like, can you take me to the laundromat? He like, no, you don't need to go to the laundromat, and you need to stay at home, and all this crap. This is before he ever made his big move. And I was like, you know what? When you get up and get out of my bed, don't come back over here, because I do not want to even look at you again, right? It ain't nothing but a hookup, but you ain't even worth me hooking up with you if I can't get a ride to the laundromat. So I'm steady separating my clothes. I looked down. This sucker was acting like he was throwing these keys, right? So I kept ducking. That time I went up, he threw them. Hit me right in the face. My whole face was swole, right? Part 2.